Hello everyone, Vicky Burley here, Rock and Roll Prophetess. Today we're going to take a look at the new moon eclipse coming up on, it'll be October 25th, 2022, 6:49 a.m. Eastern. Times will vary. Yeah, it's a 2-degree Scorpio eclipse conjunct Venus. I mean, for my chart, I'm like, this should be really cool for me, but you never know with eclipses, especially the eclipses in Scorpio, because it does always bring about, some sort of big change. It's a death and rebirth. I think of the new moon in Scorpio every year to really the usher into fall for me in the northern hemisphere. That's when we're in full-blown fall. The leaves are, everything's dying. It's going to the underworld, like the mythology. We're going down to Hades, surrounding Pluto. The reason I'm bringing that up, if you're not familiar, is that Scorpio is ruled by Pluto. So it's the energy of Pluto. And the leaves are dying, and a lot of the channelings I do, I even have a couple probably posted that come around this time. They're just like, look, follow nature. The trees, lose their leaves and die happily. They put on this big show, and they go dormant happily until their rebirth in the spring. So it's that time of the fall really unsetting, and in the northern hemisphere it's getting darker, and we're going into that dark energy of the Scorpio, and it's usually right, close to Halloween too, so you get that spooky kind of energy going too. But it's deep, it's death and rebirth. It's a transformative vibration, a transformative energy into another paradigm potentially. When this chart, I opened it up and it grabbed me, and I did what I put that. I did look it up, because we've got this triple conjunction between the sun and the moon, of course, with being the new moon eclipse, but Venus is in there too. But also the south node. Now the south node, I would not count that, because that's an 11-degree orb. It's 11-degree. That's a little bit too big. I usually really do about a 3-degree orb, honestly. But it's a little bit far away. But something grabbed me, and I wanted to go look up when is that south node going to hit that 2-degree mark, because I feel like that's going to be relevant. And it's going to be in June, right on that solstice, or very close to the solstice, or the summer solstice in the northern hemisphere. So I feel like, for some reason, there is going to be some kind of connection, possibly something that is started now. Maybe it won't come to full fruition until that node gets down there around the solstice time in June. Perhaps something you start now will only last for that long. That's only the cycle it'll be for some, But it always can be very life-changing. I think with the Venus being here, now a lot of people, I have natal Venus in Scorpio too, and this is, my part of fortune is 25 Libra too, so a lot of stuff is hitting on my personal chart anyway, but I have a higher degree Venus, but people that Venus, it's in its detriment or something, it doesn't like to be in Scorpio, all this stuff, but there is a grace to it, there is a dignity to it, there is this... I feel the Venus energy being there is just really, really positive, and it could really make things... Because we could be going through we're going through tremendous change. We all know this, right? We're in an ever-changing world in which we live in. But anyways, because the other side of this north node here... Ooh, I did not mean to do that. Sorry about that. This isn't even turned on. Is this thing on? The other side of this... The node with is still with the Uranus, still in a tight orb, still at 4 degrees, but that's close enough. Still, Uranus is very much still affecting this north node energy. So that can be really abrupt and really drastic change. And I feel like with it working with the Venus, and Venus also being the ruler of Taurus, where we find the north node and the Uranian energy. Of course, Venus is ruled by Taurus. Vice versa. Taurus is ruled by Venus. And I think it's a facilitator. The word facilitator comes through. The feeling of facilitating. The feeling of the giving of the birth. But of it being not necessarily a violent or... I feel like the Venus is almost like the doula or the midwife. She's coming in, and she's in Venus and Scorpio. She's a strong doula, a strong midwife. She's a strong feminine, presence. is there to facilitate this death and rebirth, to facilitate this very much healing energy is what I'm getting from it. Let's take a look at the aspectarian over here. Yeah, it's conjunct to Venus. Not really aspecting anything else. Oh, it's actually conjunct the real ascendant. Huh. Well, that's my real ascendant is 2 degrees. I know you guys aren't worried. I'm talking about my chart. It's like, get back to the reading here. Okay, we're getting back to the reading. But I'm just looking at it with fresh eyes. This is the first time I've really delved into it. So this is the main axis that we're looking at here. It's the Scorpio, Taurus, and that's because that's where the eclipses are. And they are going to roll on into 2023. I have been doing those year-ahead readings, so, we're going to have in May 5th one more in Scorpio lunar eclipse, and then at the end of the year of 2023 we'll have another lunar eclipse in Taurus, and I believe that ends out that cycle. But at any rate, we've been dealing with this a lot, and there's been a lot of push me, pull you, because they're both, Taurus and Scorpio are both fixed signs. So the fixed energy isn't that crazy about doing the changing. They like to state that they don't call it fixed for nothing. They are fixed. They want to plant that flag, and they want to be, they don't want things to change. It is making this aspect over here to the Jupiter, which has separated from the Chiron, which I actually do like that. I think we need a little break from that. Jupiter over here has separated from the Chiron because it's retrograding, and it's going up back into the realm of Neptune. Not only, as the planet Neptune in the sky, but also it's going to go back into Pisces, ruler of Neptune. So we're going to get a little bit... it's the Neptunian energy is going to be more emphasized with the Jupiter moving back that way. But at this moment, it's still in Aries, and it is aspecting, and this is this adjustment, Again, I just feel like this Venus is just bringing this blanket of calm, this blanket of peace, definitely this strong feminine energy through. I don't know if it's because it's the aspect to the Jupiter, or it's also, loose sext, or trine, actually. It's a trine over here to the Juno, which is the feminine, the big feminine icon. It's trining Lilith, too. Maybe that's it. Maybe the power of Lilith is really stepping up here, too, in a different way, Well, Lilith in Cancer would present itself in a different way. A lot of times Lilith is known as, the shrew, the harsh woman, the strong woman, really, is what she was. But in the sign of Cancer, maybe that's feeling that maternal, because that maternal, like I was talking about the doula and the midwife and all that, we're bringing in that maternal energy. Loose grand trine with Juno, but still all 3 major female, feminine archetypes. So even though this can be a little harsh, maybe, the feminine archetype is really present. The Saturn square is still going on, and the Saturn is over here conjunct with the Vesta. In Vesta, you think of the hearth. Right away you think of the hearth. And again, in the Northern Hemisphere, where I'm living, and a lot of our viewers, a lot of people viewing this are living, this is the time when we start lighting the fire, we bring in the hearth, we come indoors, we hang up the roots, and we dry out our smudge sticks and other crops that maybe we've grown. And we bring it in and we dry it out at this time of year. And there's this sense of the home and the cooking and the food and making the soup and the fire's burning all the time. So there is that energy, and there is this vibe of this comfort. There's some sort of a comfort in it, amidst the chaos, amidst the change, coming through in a different energy. So we've got the Mercury conjunct the part of fortune, squaring that up with this Pluto over here. Pluto being the ruler of the eclipse itself, the ruler of Scorpio. So an important player in this chart, regardless. The Pluto's also still sextiling the Neptune, but this is what's grabbing me. So the Mercury, the Mercury conjunct the part of fortune, though, You know, you would think, if you just saw this, I would think, well, Mercury square Pluto, watch, you could say things that you can't take back, you might fly off the handle, harsh words could be spoken, these kinds of things. And when you incorporate the sign of Libra, too, it could be something that you've been glossing over for a long time, trying to make it nice, trying to put a bow on it, but really, there's you might let it rip, or you might see that there's no, it's putting lipstick on a pig. There's no making it pretty anymore. You might have to turn and face the ugly, or say those ugly words, or say that thing, that death, that big change, there's big changes in our lives. You may have to say that. Stop pussyfooting around. That's what the guides are coming through with. So stop pussyfooting around out there. You hear that? Don't be pussyfooting around out there. Some of the terms they come up with are these old-fashioned corny words that cracks me up every time. But talking about these not weird points, but not often discussed points like the part of fortune, the vertex over here is at 29 of Taurus, trining that Pluto as well. And the vertex is a point of fate too. And a lot of times, I always find it to be something good. If you watch your natal vertex, watch the transits, a lot of times if something pops up, you're like, what happened, what happened, what happened? You can't figure it out. Sometimes it's the vertex getting activated in your chart. So the vertex, though, it's interesting at this 29 degrees of Taurus, because that is that losing your head aspect that many people are familiar with. In the day, back in the times when people would get their heads cut off, you had 29 Taurus in your chart. It's not funny, but it's what are you going to tell somebody? Hey, sorry to tell you, you're an astrologer in the olden days. Hey man, sorry to tell you, but probably going to get your head cut off. Yeah, but in the modern day, we interpret it to be more of losing your head, like going overboard, which is again trining Pluto. So, but the trine could be nice. This could be a real forge of energy in the Pluto and Capricorn in the most positive way. Getting a lot accomplished. Really, nailing things. I'm hearing nailing things down, making those appointments, making those meetings. All these planets are getting ready to go direct. We have still a lot of retrograde here. I mean, Mercury went direct, but we've got Uranus retrograde, Chiron, Jupiter, Neptune. These have gone direct. But so, we're the node is always retrograde, of course, yeah. But we're just coming out of this, and this eclipse is here too. So there's a lot of jarring energy, but it's almost if something can be forged through it. Maybe this jarring energy is needed to create a portal or to create a way. I remember Michael Beckwith, a book, one of his audiobooks, and I used to listen to it over and over again. But that one sentence always stood out to me. Out of no way, a way will come. I just heard that. I just heard him saying it just like on his audiobook in my head. Out of no way, a way will come. And then, but it feels like, with the Mars, that we're going to have to, no pussyfooting around. They keep coming through with that. Did they say pussyfooting around the other one? Well, this is their latest, interjection here. No pussyfooting around. You see that thing and go for it. Go for the gusto. Yeah, they're coming through with that too. So it's shaking things up. But if you can keep your head when those about you are losing theirs, that's coming through too. When you can stay calm in the midst of the chaos, in the midst of the storm. When you can stay, that's something that's good about this fixed energy, and even the Saturn's in the fixed energy too. It's just like, that's the one that can stand, because standing your ground, has its place. Not getting bowled over or knocked over by the energy. You don't want to be, when you're standing your ground and it's becoming obstinance, then that's another thing entirely. But not letting it bowl you over. With the Saturn involvement with the nodes, Saturn's squaring the nodes too. So it's wanting to forge, it's wanting to create this new foundation, this new paradigm. Saturn is the building blocks. Saturn is the bones in our body. It's the building blocks. It's the foundation of the building. So amidst all this, if your foundation is strong, then it will withstand. If not, it may not. You know, simple as that. But here's the thing with Saturn and Pluto both. If there is some major disruption in your life and something is taken away or comes to an abrupt end, or, you know, whatever the case may be, this disruption, they're always going to give you something new, especially Saturn. Saturn's not going to leave you with no bones laying like a lump of flesh on the ground. Saturn rules the bones in the body, the skeleton. It's going to present another, help you to build a new foundation. I keep wanting to use the word forge, and of course, you know, that is a word that's used, but when I say forge and I say it out loud, I see like a forge, like metal and fire. And that's probably, you know, Mars. That would probably be the realm of Mars, I would think. Another thing what I was saying before about the words, though, too, because Mars is in Gemini. Now they're coming through with loose lips sink ships. Okay, another... but, you know, words could be said, but maybe they need to be said in some cases, you know. Sometimes they just need to be said. Sometimes being nice, people don't get the hint a lot of times. You know? You try to tiptoe around it in a nice way. You try to be like da 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 da. And, you know, many people watching this probably are, even if you're strictly astrology person, you're pretty, you know, we listen to our intuition. We pick up the subtle undertones, you know, of people's communication. That's, you know, communicative skills. But some people just don't. Some people you gotta just tell them straight. You gotta straight talk. That's what I'm hearing. Isn't that something, straight talk with somebody or other, a TV show or something? Might even be a YouTube channel or something. I think I've heard that somewhere. Straight talk with somebody or other, some doctor or somebody. Anyways, I don't know where that came from. But yeah, it's a powerful new eclipse. Venus being there, maybe not powerful in Scorpio, but powerful joined with her sister moon and, you know, all these feminine things that are being tied in, and her sister Lilith over here. We're giving birth to something. It's a death and rebirth. So know that going in. If we know that going in, you know, maybe we can do it in a more loving way, or bring in that feminine energy, or bring in draw from those forebearers, those, you know, your matriarchal peeps, you know, your genetic matriarchal line, you know, pull in that energy. Because it even though it's not feminine, I know everybody's probably freaking out, it's not really feminine, but there is this feminine energy and this feminine presence that comes forth, just for me, intuitive, psychically. And the Venus is really just coming at me. Somebody somewhere is going to have a baby, I'm sure. But it feels like this could be, if you were trying to get pregnant, this might be a good time to try. If there's somebody's expecting a baby, that's nothing new either. You know, a lot of people, if the baby's going to come and the eclipse hits, that'll a lot of times induce labor and stuff on people. I think it's just a partial eclipse, but yet still oh so powerful. You know, especially if you have these low degrees. I was going through what I ended up doing this year, because I can't find, since the Maynard are not printing their calendars anymore, their astrology calendars. I'm old school. I like an old school printed calendar date book, and you know, I got the Llewellyn Wall calendar, but it's just so, even with glasses on, you know, I can't read this. You know, it's so fine print and it's so tiny. So what I actually have done this year, I'd love to make one for all those older people that can't see the fine print, but I'm doing my own, and I'm writing them all in by hand. Old school stuff, you know. I used to do that back in the day. I'd get my stuff all printed out, and then I'd go through and write it in by hand. So I'm going back to that. But at least I'll be able to see it. But anyways, I'm noticing there's going to be a lot of new moon and full moons at this 0 degree. a lot of it. And there's going to be, because these planets are all going to be changing signs next year. I'm dipping into that astrology for next year. We're going to have a lot. Saturn's going to go into Pisces, Pluto's going to go into Capricorn or Aquarius, Jupiter's going to go into Taurus. The nodes are going to change signs. There's all these zeros going on. So there's going to be anybody who has planets at these lower, 0 to 2 or 3 degrees, or even 29. You're going to be your chart's going to get really activated all year long next year. And also, a lot of 25s. And we've got this Mars at 25, this Pluto here. That was the other number that kept coming up, to these 25 degrees, 25 degrees. Probably because Pluto will still be there for a little bit. But so if your chart, if you have these, it'll be Neptune actually, yeah, it'll be in the 20s. So this is going to be all year long. You're going to be really getting activated. And then when your chart is activated directly, that is when you really feel that energy. So this is a powerful time. I mean, the solstice itself, not the solstice, the ingress, the Libra ingress, that was a change of season. But really, to me, this feels like we're really settling in for the winter, the fall leading into the winter in the Northern Hemisphere. This is going to bring just that big change, that really big vibe change, where it's just like settle down, nurture inside, food, warmth, all these kinds of things. Is there chaotic stuff? Potentially, sure. Yeah, there is. There always is. But it's how you choose to go through it. It's how you choose to deal with it. You always have that choice. All right, yeah, so speaking of the year ahead, I am doing the year ahead readings. Thanks to everybody who's already ordered them. I do look at the transits first. That's what I have all these cards out when I'm doing it. And I look at the transits and look at, things that are going to hit your chart in the upcoming years, cycles you're beginning, cycles you're ending astrology-wise. And then I do a tarot reading too, a psychic tarot reading for you, divided into the 4 quarters of the year. Always my most popular reading. A lot of people have already started ordering it, so if you'd like to get yours, you can find out from the link below. Also, anybody interested in, did I save it? Do I have it? Anybody who's interested in the rock and roll part of my, name or my life or whatever, there's a local guys here, Level Up Cleveland, in my hometown. And they do interviews, and they were talking about, I interviewed with them, and they were talking about, this is all about how I came up in the music scene in Cleveland, and he talked a lot about my parents' bar. Anybody's interested in any of that kind of stuff, it's not part of usually what I bring into this part of the reading, but, people have asked me. If you're interested, it's called Level Up Cleveland, and I'm the latest video as I'm posting this, my astrology video. So if you're interested in that, check it out. It was a cool, fun interview. It was early in the day, and I was a little hepped up on some caffeine. And, lighting's a little harsh, but it was really a great experience. They're cool dudes, my music buddies from the town here, and they're putting out a lot. Where I live, Cleveland, it's, so we have the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and everything, and there's always been like this big music scene here. A lot of people don't really know about it. It's not like Nashville, but it's not like nothing either. We got quite a diverse and really cool music scene. That's why, one of the reasons why we did get the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in our town. But anyways, I digress. New Moon in Scorpio, everybody. Transformation for sure, but also transformation with grace. I think that's a good one from the guides to kind of sum it all up. All right, thanks for tuning in. Hey, if you enjoy my content, please do hit that subscribe button. I'd love to hear your comments. I did also, if you're interested in astrology, I did post a Pluto and Aquarius video for all signs. I was having so much trouble with the audio. I tried 3 different times. I do not know why the audio is going weird, so sorry about that, but there's still some good information in there, and check it out. And if you remember on that Pluto video, or even here, if you have some insights, if you want to talk about what happened to you during a Pluto transit, Pluto going through this such a house or hitting one of your personal planets, definitely post it in the comments, share with others, because I think it's always cool to learn from other people's experience. All right, thanks for tuning in. Have a great new moon, and we'll talk again soon. Bye.